Most people think fixing dead soil takes chemicals, machines, or money. But what if nature already solved this problem, thousands of years ago? Hidden in plain sight are plants that don't just grow, they heal. Ancient farmers used them to crack open rock-hard dirt, unlock buried nutrients, and breathe life back into barren land. We lost that knowledge. But now, it's coming back, and what you and Oppos, about to discover could change everything you thought you knew about the ground beneath your feet. Most people see a sunflower and think, pretty. But while you and Oppos, admiring those golden heads swaying in the breeze, something extraordinary is happening underground. Right beneath your feet, this plant is running a billion-dollar operation in total silence. Sunflowers don't just grow, they engineer. Their roots plunge 6 feet into the earth, acting like nature's jackhammers. They break through compacted soil that would stop other plants cold. And they don't stop there. These roots become vertical elevators, hauling nutrients and water from deep below the surface, places most roots will never reach. And here's the part almost no one talks about: when sunflowers die back, their massive root system doesn't and Oppos, disappear. It decomposes into rich, organic matter, feeding microbes, loosening the soil, and creating nutrient pathways for whatever comes next. The result? Ground that was once concrete hard suddenly becomes soft, spongy, and alive. But the magic isn't just under the surface. Above ground, these towering stalks create perfect microclimates. They filter harsh sunlight, block wind, and shade out weeds before they even sprout. Bees and butterflies? They flock to the flowers like landing strips, turning dead zones into buzzing ecosystems. Centuries ago, indigenous farmers already knew the truth. They didn't just grow sunflowers for seeds or oil, they used them to heal land. One season with these plants, and you're not just growing a flower, you're rebuilding the foundation for everything that follows. You've probably seen mustard greens growing wild along roadsides. Most people ignore them. But medieval monks didn't. In fact, they considered mustard so powerful, they assigned entire jobs, mustardarius, just to manage it. Why? Because mustard doesn't just grow. It fights. The roots dive deep, 3 feet in normal soil, up to 5 in dry, cracked earth. They tear through compacted ground like living drills, creating a hidden network of tunnels. Those pathways? They let water flow, air circulate, and roots of future crops spread without resistance. It turns stubborn, lifeless dirt into breathable, workable earth. Above ground, mustard plays defense. Its thick leaves act like a living mulch, smothering weeds before they can take hold. It shields the soil from punishing wind and rain. But the real magic happens when you chop it down while it's still green. Mix it into the soil, and you and Oppos, just created a feast for microbes, rich, organic matter that turns dead land into fertile ground. But mustard isn't done yet. Inside those leaves are natural compounds that repel pests, no chemicals needed. Aphids avoid it. Cabbage worms? Gone. And underground, it gets even more brutal. Mustard roots release substances that wipe out parasitic nematodes, the invisible enemies that destroy plant roots, while leaving the beneficial ones untouched. It's like hiring a bouncer that only kicks out the real troublemakers. And here's what really blew people's minds: mustard doesn't just fix soil, it cleans it. Through a process called phytoremediation, mustard pulls heavy metals and toxins from polluted ground. That's right, this scrappy roadside plant quietly detoxes the land, naturally. All that? In under 90 days. People step on it. Mow it down. Spray it away like it's useless. But this tiny 3-leaf plant once stood between Europe and mass starvation. By the 1600s, European farmland was collapsing. Centuries of planting the same crops had stripped the soil bare. Harvests failed. Famine crept across the continent. Desperation set in. And that's when farmers rediscovered something Spain had quietly been using since the year 1000. clover wasn't a weed. It was a soil factory. While those soft white flowers sway above ground, something extraordinary is happening below. Clover roots host colonies of microscopic bacteria that pull nitrogen straight out of the air and convert it into plant food. Free fertilizer, produced non-stop, right in the soil, without chemicals or cost. But clover doesn't stop there. Its roots push down through compacted earth, cracking it open like tiny jackhammers. They create underground highways for water and air, while weaving a living net that locks soil in place and prevents erosion. Above ground, the dense leaves form a protective carpet, shielding the earth from pounding rain and scorching sun. Every time clover dies back, it feeds the soil again. Organic matter sinks in. Microbes explode. The ground grows darker, richer, and more alive than anything synthetic fertilizers can create. And now, farmers are rediscovering this ancient trick. Fertilizer bills are getting cut in half. Homeowners are mixing microclover into lawns for greener grass that never needs feeding. A 1,000-year-old solution, growing in sidewalk cracks everywhere. But while clover works its magic right at the surface, the next plant dives in the opposite direction, deep underground, where most plants can't survive. They called it a devourer of soil. For centuries, people feared lupines, thinking these tall, colorful spires drained the earth of life. They couldn't have been more wrong. What looked like destruction was actually restoration. Lupines weren't robbing the land. They were healing it, silently, powerfully, beneath the surface. With over 300 wild species across the Americas and Mediterranean, these plants have been quietly working miracles for thousands of years. In the Andes, their seeds fed civilizations. In Roman gardens, they were sown not just for food, but for their secret underground talents. Here's what most people never see: lupine roots form deep taproots that act like natural jackhammers, cracking through compacted, acidic, or sandy soil. But the real game changer is their relationship with nitrogen-fixing bacteria. These microscopic allies pull nitrogen directly from the air and pump it into the soil, free, organic fertilizer manufactured 24/7 right beneath your feet. Plant lupines in dead zones where nothing grows, and they don't just survive, they repair. Air, water, and nutrients begin to flow again. Other plants follow. Soil that once resisted life becomes a sanctuary for it. Even today, you can walk through markets in the Middle East and still find lupine seeds sold as crunchy snacks. But the secret they carry has nothing to do with taste, and everything to do with legacy. These so-called wolves of the garden were never predators. They were protectors. Architects. Quiet builders of the underground world. You've seen the name in health food stores. Buckwheat pancakes. Buckwheat flour. Sounds like it should be some kind of grain, right? Wrong. Buckwheat isn't wheat at all, it's actually a cousin of rhubarb. And while it's been mislabeled for centuries, its real superpower isn't in your breakfast bowl, it's in the soil. This plant grows where others give up. It asks for almost nothing: no rich soil, no fertilizer, no pampering. And yet, what it gives back is every gardener's dream: soil that fixes itself. Its story begins over 8,000 years ago in the mountains of China. From there, it traveled ancient trade routes, nourishing Russians, Japanese, and anyone who understood its dual nature: fast-growing food above ground, soil restoration below. When you plant buckwheat, it takes off like a rocket. In just weeks, red stems shoot up. Broad, arrow-shaped leaves stretch wide. Tiny white flowers appear in clusters, and bees go absolutely wild for them. But the real magic is what happens underneath. That dense canopy shades the ground, starving weeds of light. Even better, buckwheat releases natural compounds into the soil that stop weed seeds from sprouting at all. It and oppose, not just crowding them out, it's chemically outsmarting them. Then, when you till it under, those hollow stems break down fast, faster than most cover crops, delivering organic matter straight into the soil. What used to be dry, depleted ground. It's the fourth largest crop in America, bigger than wheat in some regions. 20 million acres quietly producing something far more valuable than livestock feed, soil transformation. Above ground, alfalfa stands 3 feet tall. But what you don't see? A 15-foot root system stretching deep into the earth like a living machine. Those roots don't just dig, they rebuild. Each plant partners with nitrogen-fixing bacteria that pull pure nitrogen straight from the air and deliver it right into the soil. No synthetic fertilizer. No runoff. Just free, organic power laid down exactly where future crops will need it. And that's just the beginning. Those massive roots create a network of microscopic tunnels, natural irrigation channels that trap rainwater and hold it through drought. When storms come, the same roots lock topsoil in place, stopping erosion before it starts. Ancient Persian traders knew this. They didn't just carry alfalfa to feed horses, they brought it to heal land. In Arabic, they called it Alfalfa, father of all foods. Not because of what it gave to animals, but because of what it gave back to the earth. Modern farmers are relearning what ancient civilizations already knew. Plant alfalfa, and the soil doesn't just recover, it remembers. Moisture holds. Nutrients stay. And the next harvest? It thrives without needing a single chemical boost. You've seen it before, those pale blue flowers dotting the roadside. Most people drive right past them without a second thought. But beneath that delicate bloom is a powerhouse. Chicory isn't just another weed, it's one of the toughest soil renovators nature ever designed. Roman farmers built entire systems around it. By the 1800s, Australian ranchers were cultivating special varieties like Puna and Grouse, not for the flowers, but for what chicory was doing beneath the soil. Its taproot drives straight down, punching through hardpan like a living drill. 2 to 3 feet deep, it creates instant irrigation tunnels that other crops depend on later. Ground that once repelled water now drinks it in. Air flows. Roots follow. And it doesn't stop there. Chicory reaches deep into the subsoil, mining minerals and moisture from layers most plants can't touch. Then, as its leaves drop or get chopped, all that deep nutrition is deposited right at the surface, ready for the next crop. In just one season, clay becomes workable. Waterlogged soil starts draining. Slopes stop sliding away. And if you've got livestock, chicory delivers protein levels that rival expensive feeds, and naturally reduces internal parasites in sheep. That's why ranchers swear by it. It feeds the land and the animals, all in one go. What looks like a roadside wildflower, is actually a tactical strike team for struggling soil. It won't win any beauty contests. It sprawls, tangles, and looks like a mess to most eyes. But that mess is hiding one of agriculture's most expensive tricks, done for free. Hairy vetch is a quiet monster underground. Its roots are alive with nitrogen-fixing bacteria, pulling pure nitrogen from the air and pumping it directly into the soil. We're talking the same nitrogen farmers pay hundreds of dollars per acre for, produced naturally, non-stop, without lifting a finger. And while it's fixing your soil, it's also fighting your weeds. In early spring, hairy vetch explodes into dense growth. It forms a thick, green barrier that chokes out competitors and locks in precious topsoil. No erosion. No wasted nutrients. Just a living mulch blanket that defends your land. When it dies back, it leaves behind a feast, moisture-rich organic matter that decomposes slowly, feeding your next crop long after the surface looks empty. But that's just the beginning. Below ground, its roots tear through compacted soil like silent bulldozers, creating deep channels for air, water, and the roots of future crops. Corn, wheat, vegetables, whatever follows vetch grows faster, stays healthier, and resists disease better than anything planted into untreated fields. And this isn't new. Romans like Pliny the Elder were praising vetch thousands of years ago, when most of Europe was still figuring out basic farming. Mediterranean cultures have used it since the Stone Age. Modern science is just catching up to what ancient farmers already knew. Hairy Vetch doesn't just prepare the soil, it upgrades it. You've probably seen it in Asian markets, thick, white, crisp. Most people grab Daikon Radish for soup or salads. But what they're really holding is a soil-splitting weapon. Above ground, it looks harmless. Below, it's a demolition drill. That taproot dives 12 to 20 inches into the earth, cutting through dense, compacted clay like a hot knife through butter. No machines. No tilling. Just raw, natural force, opening up the earth one root at a time. And here's the genius of it, once it punches through, it dies. But it doesn't disappear. The root decomposes in place, leaving behind perfectly shaped pockets, miniature vaults filled with loosened earth, trapped moisture, and a slow-release dose of deep-mined nutrients. Daikon doesn't just pull nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus from way below, it brings them to the surface, where shallow-rooted plants can finally access them. Think of it as nutrient cycling at its finest, with zero effort. The result? Future crops grow faster, stronger, and deeper, right into those channels Daikon left behind. It's like planting into pre-dug tunnels lined with fertilizer. Farmers in Asia figured this out centuries ago. They didn't just grow Daikon for food, they grew it to repair dead land. It shades out weeds, breaks up hardpan, and leaves the soil more fertile than it was before. From seed to sprout in just 5 days. Grows fast enough to outcompete weeds. Dies back naturally, leaving perfectly conditioned ground in its wake. No gas. No labor. The plant does the work. Most gardeners rip it out like a weed. Big mistake. Comfrey is one of the hardest working plants on the planet, and it's been quietly doing the heavy lifting for centuries. While other plants barely scratch the surface, Comfrey sends roots 10 feet down, deep into the mineral vaults of the earth. It's nature's mining rig. Those roots punch through hardpan clay that would stop a shovel cold. And once they're down there, they start hauling, pulling up nutrients that have been locked away for decades. But Comfrey doesn't keep those riches to itself. Cut the leaves, and you've got instant fertilizer. No, seriously. Comfrey leaves are so packed with nitrogen, potassium, and trace minerals that pound for pound, they rival some of the most expensive fertilizers you can buy. Drop those chopped leaves around tomatoes, fruit trees, or garden beds, and watch the explosion of growth. And it doesn't stop at fertilizing. Comfrey leaves break down faster than almost any other plant. Throw them in a compost pile, and they accelerate decomposition. Kitchen scraps that normally take months to rot turn into black gold in half the time. No store-bought booster needed, just one plant doing what it was born to do. Want the best variety? Russian Comfrey Bocking 14. Developed in the 1950s for maximum benefits, zero spread, it gives you everything you want without taking over your yard. And while all that's happening above ground, the roots are silently reshaping the soil below, creating permanent channels for water and air. The ground stays loose. Moisture holds. Nutrients cycle. Every year, the soil gets deeper, darker, and more alive. One plant. Decades of impact. We've been told soil is dead. That it needs chemicals, machines, and money to come back to life. But it's not dead. It's asleep. And these 10 plants? They're the wake-up call. From mustard that wipes out pests without poison, to chicory that drills 3 feet deep. From Daikon radishes that mine nutrients like living jackhammers, to Comfrey that transforms compost piles into gold, these overlooked powerhouses are proving one thing. The earth remembers how to heal itself. These aren't miracle products. They're not hiding in fancy bags or plastic bottles. They're growing in ditches. Cracks in sidewalks. Abandoned lots. Places we forgot to look. While we've been throwing money at problems, nature's been handing us the answers, for free. So the next time you see a weed, ask yourself. Is it really a nuisance, Or is it quietly rebuilding the world beneath your feet?